many emails from potential teams that want to come in and film and film their show, which is great. But the thing that really stood out was they were coming forward with so much more information than I ever had, and so much more background information. Like this team, whoever they were doing their due diligence to try to find out information about the Hinsdale House and its history and what could be making it tick. And I was really intrigued by it. So I had reached out to him. It was Nick's cousin Justin, and we started having conversations about it. I was talking about what I found. He had showed me what he had found, and I'm like, yeah, you guys need to come and film your show here. This is going to be great. And he's like, all right, well, we got to do everything legit because it may be on network television. So sends me the contract in the mail, and not till I got the contract in the mail did I see that it was Groff Entertainment. I'm like, huh? I was like, okay, this is one of the big guys, like Nick Groff. This is crazy, and just to watch the whole process was amazing, just to be there and get interviewed and meet him and see his passion for the paranormal and Katrina as well. They really dive in, they really dug into the location, and I've got to see it a couple times. I've been on a couple of filmings with them, and it's very respectable because it's some of the shows that are out there, you think are embellished, to be there and watch what they do. I know firsthand that this one's not. This one it's a TV show, but it's more or less what a paranormal investigator goes through when they're at a location, and it's cut. It's 4 days worth of film cut into an hour. Hour
42
show.
42 minutes.
42 minutes. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I know that that they had done Malvern Manor, and I remember when Josh could finally tell people that they had done Malvern Manor. It was really very interesting, and he's sitting there telling us about it, and I go, okay, well, we're getting ready to investigate. I need to go change into something warm because there was no heat in any other part of the house, and it started snowing. Every time we go up there, it snows, and so as I'm changing, I get attacked by a spirit. We hadn't even been in the house 5 minutes. And he goes, well, that's been happening a lot since they came. I was like, great. You could have at least told me that there might be a chance that I was going to get scratched and have a big fat drill bit thrown across the room at me. So that might have been nice. And then this was in the office where they thought they were safe.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to break the news to you, but it was one of those things where, my cousin, the first time she sees me in probably 12 years, and the first thing she gets is me coming out of the room going, I've been scratched and something's been thrown at me. And so Josh is like, oh my God, this is going to be a long night. But your place and his place in a lot of ways, as far as mold, roof, things like that, having to get it all ready to have people in there is very similar.
Oh, yeah.
And, I know his story about getting paranormal lockdown in there was totally different. Johnny Hauser called and said, hey, Nick, you got to check this out. Yours was Nick's already been there. He already knew. And he says,
Nick had never been there before.
He just heard about it?
Had heard about it and was just on his bucket list of places to go.
Wow.
And he wanted to pick some new locations that had not been on TV yet, that were new, So, and this definitely has that story to it. It has more of a story than just the exorcism, and it's a pretty cool location for that purpose alone,
I've read part of your book. I haven't read all of it yet because books are sent to me all the time. I can't read them all. And your book is very, very interesting on the different things that's in there. If you had to pick one excerpt out of the book to get people to buy it, what would it be?
Probably the catch right at the beginning, where I tell about the exorcism, what happened to the family in the 1970s, and then where I say that, and I own this house now. This is my story, and you read forward because I think it kind of just you tell a little bit of story about what this family goes through, back in the 1970s, and then you're saying, okay, I own this place. There's a lot more that's got to be said about that, and there really is, because in researching it, there's got to be some place or something that's making this place tick, because there's failed exorcism there,
Yeah.
and here it stands today.
Because I know I interviewed Brett Yakabuchi.
Oh yeah, he was there. When did you interview him?
Right after he was there.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I interviewed Chuck not long after that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Brett's story about in the woods is amazing. About the gnomes. Right. Far-fetched, for people who don't believe. I mean, I can believe in ghosts. I have trouble with gnomes and fairies. I'm sorry. I just do. But the way that he spoke about it, it was very, very believable. And so, like I said, I can't discount it because I wasn't there. Yeah, I mean, and that's what he believes. I don't know. I don't know what these things are that we're getting pictures of. Chuck was there. Chuck Banks. Chris Sutton. These pictures of these creatures that we're getting out in the forest are unexplainable. And Chris Sutton is saying it's a pukwudgie. These ancient Indian cryptids that are indicative of the Northeast. And he came out with Chuck, and at the same time that Brett was there as well. And I kind of had a plethora of light workers there, just to kind of lighten up the property. Just try to do what you do, and try to lighten this place up, because it was heavy. It was feeling heavy. Like there's a lot going on with this land. There's a lot, So, and it felt like there was kind of like after they left, it kind of felt like there was a blanket lifted off the back a little bit, off of our backs. Yeah, I will say I've known Coyote Chris. The anniversary is coming up this weekend that we've known him 9 years.
Wow.
So, because this weekend coming up is the McPike Mansion campout. So that's where we met him, and that's where we'll see him this weekend. And so everybody out there, if you're looking for something to do this weekend and you happen to be in the Missouri, Illinois area, we're coming from Kansas, so keep that in mind. McPikeMansion.com, $35 a head. You can sleep on the property.
Camping out. Cheap.
Yes, and the weather's supposed to be good. Ground should be nice and soft because it's going to rain on Friday. But Saturday is supposed to
bring
be
an air mattress.
It's going to be really nice on Saturday, and it's gonna be good. We will be saying some prayers for Jerome Minks, who passed while I was in the hospital while I was sick. So you guys need to, if you want to come on out. We take the first 70 some odd people that want to come out, and you get basement time, and you help to rebuild McPike Mansion. The first thing they did was their roof, some had to do some stuff with the bricks and all that, and windows. So it's another place. It's just like yours. It had to have a lot of work done before they could even let people in. In fact, the only place they can let people in right now is the basement. You cannot let anybody in the upper floors of that place. I don't know if Chris told you about any of it.
No.
But yeah, it's actually condemned on the inside.
Oh boy.
And so until the mayor takes it off the condemned list, you can't go in it except in the basement. So anybody who comes out there, you're helping rebuild McPike Mansion, and that's a big deal.
It's a worthwhile cause for sure. So hopefully it's sold out.
Usually it is. We usually have a lot of people. Ron and I have been volunteering there since 2010. So we went the first year and said, we got to do this every year. And we've been going every year and been volunteering ever since. And it's one of those places that, your heart goes into it. So, but it's, like I said, Coyote Chris, excellent man. Like I said, all three of the people that we've just mentioned, Brett Yakabuchi, Chuck Banks, Coyote Chris, all very good people with all different things that they had to say about the area. and none of them contradict each other.
No, they
So-
don't. Everybody has their own experience. Everybody has their own, it's different. I have a book that I keep since I've owned the place. We have a journal that we've been keeping, and I employ teams or people that come in there to write in the book when something happens. And it's amazing when you read through the book what different things people experience. Maybe something didn't happen in the house. Maybe it happened on the outside of the house. Maybe it happened out by the pond. Maybe it happened up in the forest. Maybe it happened out by the hanging tree. It's just amazing the different stories that you get. I'm actually going to be writing a new book with all these stories, all these different, so it's not just me. It's not just this guy that bought this house that's trying to make money from this haunted location. I'm going to have hundreds of teams from 5 different countries that came into this house that have had experiences here in their own words. Telling their stories in this book. And it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a really cool thing to check out, So I can't wait. I'm putting that together right now.
I was going to ask that question because what's good is it to have all this information if you're not going to use it?
Yeah. Well, and I also want to I also want to have this information available to the teams that come in. So that's the other thing that I'm working on. I'm working on building a museum and a base camp, a new build on the property. Unlike it's just something different. Like I'm a paranormal investigator, so you always want to set up a base camp, but because the Hinsdale House is 1,100 square foot, you have that. If you're setting up a base camp, you have that contamination factor. If you're setting it up on the outside of the house, or you're setting it up maybe in the living room, or your team members are there. So if I can have a standalone structure that it's wired, that a team can actually go into and sleep in and hang out in, that they can use as opposed to actually being in the house, I want to build that and then have all this information that I've acquired since I've owned the house. The letters written back and forth to the priest from the 1970s, the exorcism kit, haunted objects that I've reacquired that were lost, that she writes about and that Clara writes about in her book Echoes of a Haunting. I have some of these items back at the house, just original items to the families that lived there, and a lot of written documentation from the teams that have come in and investigated there from 4 years, and then actually I have documentation from teams that were there prior to the 4 years, because I knew the team that actually was working there prior to me owning it too. So we have a lot of information, which would be awesome for any team to have coming in there, going into an investigation.
Well, we have to stop for a break. So everybody, go get yourself a snack or whatever and come back. WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and Daniel Klaes will be back in just a few minutes. So enjoy your break.